Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something that is absolutely transforming the pharmaceutical and biologics industry. We're going to completely reshape how you view a contamination control strategy, or CCS, under Annex 1. Now, if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of requirements, well, get ready. We're going to take all that chaos and organize it into a brilliantly structured, logical system.
Look, let's just call out a massive industry trap right off the bat. You know that giant 60-page binder sitting on a desk somewhere, packed with isolated documents and a section for every single Annex 1 element? Yeah, that is not a strategy. It's just a list. It's static, it lives in silos, and honestly, it merely assumes its own effectiveness. A true strategy is a linked, living, interactive system where effectiveness is actually assessed from real data. So today, we're shifting our mindset entirely, from just building a binder to building a dynamic system.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. A list isn't a strategy. 2. The golden thread concept. 3. Mapping the physical envelope. 4. People as source and control. 5. Active process and upkeep. And finally, 6. Where the threads interconnect.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1. A list isn't a strategy. And Section 2. The golden thread concept. We need to establish the ground rules of how we map elements before we get into the specifics.
Think about elements like personnel or utilities for a second. They are just inputs, they're ingredients. A folder containing all these elements doesn't magically transform into a strategy just because someone's signed off on it, right? The true strategy is the logical reasoning and the linkage that binds all those ingredients together into one coherent whole. Enter what we call the golden thread. This 5-step sequence is literally the engine of this entire explainer. Every single element has to be mapped exactly the same way. We start with the element itself. Then we identify the contamination sources it presents. Next, we establish the controls we're putting in place. But wait, we don't stop there. We have to map the monitoring that actively watches that control, which finally leads us to assessing its effectiveness. And boom, that closes the loop. Moving right along to Section 3, mapping the physical envelope. Let's see what happens when we apply this golden thread directly to the physical boundaries of a facility. When we map out the physical elements, we aren't just listing them, we're linking them. Take facility design, for instance. The control it contributes is airflow and separation, and we monitor that through qualification data. Or think about premises. The spatial layout and zoning act as a foundational control, which is watched like a hawk by differential pressure monitoring. And utilities, like water for injection or WFI and HVAC, they provide critical controls like clean air supply, and we relentlessly monitor those via TOC and viable and non-viable air data. Now, I want to set a really clear boundary here. Our focus today is mapping what these physical elements contribute to your overall strategy. We're identifying their role and their monitoring links. What we are definitely not doing is reteaching actual cleanroom architecture or HVAC engineering design. If you need to size a water loop, well, that's engineering. But if you need to prove that water loop isn't contaminating your product, now that is your contamination control strategy. Okay, next up is Section 4, People as Source and Control. Having mapped the physical building, we have to talk about the most unpredictable variables of all. When we look at personnel and supply, you'll see exactly how the golden thread applies here too. Humans are the single greatest source of contamination. We're shedding particles constantly. The controls? Gowning, training, and aseptic behavior. But remember our thread. We have to monitor it, which we do via personnel environmental monitoring and gowning checks. For closures, we use sterilization and container closure integrity as a control, watched closely by CCI and bioburden monitoring. And finally, think about vendors. Our control actually extends way beyond the site fence through qualifications and audits, stopping issues before they even reach our incoming testing barrier. Which brings us to Section 5, Active Process and Upkeep. The crucial point to remember here is that a facility doesn't just sit there frozen in time. It operates, it degrades, and it needs active upkeep to sustain control. Now, topics like process risk methodology and deep dive maintenance schedules are handled in separate modules. But take things like validation and cleaning. Process validation, like media fills, provides the objective proof that your process works. Cleaning actively reduces bioburden, and that's watched closely by surface environmental monitoring. Every single allowed element acts as an active, connected subsystem. Let's pause for a quick reality check. Imagine you're reviewing a strategy, and a control is boldly stated, something like, grade A air protects the fill point. Sounds great, right? But then you realize
There is no reference to viable or non-viable air data tracking it. Based on the mapping sequence we just talked about, what vital piece is totally missing from this golden thread?
Exactly. The monitoring and effectiveness link. If you have a control but absolutely nothing is watching it, you don't have a strategy. You have an assumption. And let me tell you, Annex 1 is incredibly strict about this. Completeness is not connectedness. You just cannot claim a control is working without the monitoring data to actually prove its effectiveness. And that leads us into our final stretch, Section 6, where the threads interconnect. We've mapped all these separate elements, but now we need to see the big picture.
The real magic happens when these threads weave together into a dynamic, self-correcting web. Think of it as a continuous, data-driven loop. The strategy isn't just about having threads run side by side. It's about where they cross over and share evidence. Monitoring detects a signal, maybe a particle count excursion. Prevention steps in to investigate, find the root cause, and execute a CAPA. Finally, continuous improvement takes that new knowledge to raise the baseline for the whole system over time. This loop is the living strategy.
Let's look at a real-world scenario. Say a gowning slip occurs, introducing way more human shedding into the room. Nothing works in a silo here. To catch and fix this, the HVAC element has to successfully dilute the air, and the environmental monitoring element has to detect the combined results. Finally, the prevention element takes action through a CAPA. It literally takes 3 entirely separate elements interacting together to handle one single moment of weakness.
Now let's flip it and look at how a failure cascades. Imagine you have a weak vendor audit, a failure in the vendor element. This lets higher bioburden slip in. Maybe your incoming materials testing doesn't quite catch all of it. So where does that stress land? It lands downstream, putting extreme pressure on your sterilization validation margins. One weak element upstream creates a massive downstream hazard.
If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, please let it be this. Inspectors probe the links, not the list. Having a pristine binder with perfect chapters means 0 if those elements don't dynamically interact. An inspector wants to see how an environmental monitoring drift triggers a CAPA, which then updates a cleaning procedure, which is then formally validated. That's what they're looking for. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about your own facility right now. Does your contamination control strategy actually link elements into a living, breathing, self-correcting system? Or is it just an inventory of isolated documents collecting dust on a shelf? Mastering the art of integration is the true standard of Annex 1. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.